Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and this one is a blast from the past. I bring these out to your attention because a lot of times back then we didn't understand the importance of what was being said in these letters, and we may not have even ever seen these letters before. And this was one of them that I don't think I've ever seen, but it came out July 27th, 2017. And that was an actually very important day because a lot of things were coming out that day. I think Dan Bongino had a podcast on it. I can't remember, but yeah, there were a lot of things that actually happened on July 27th, 2017. And so anyway, I wanted to point this one out to you because this is a letter from Devon Nunes to Dan Coates. Now, at the time, Devon Nunes was the chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which now Adam Schiff is the chairman and Devon Nunes is the ranking member. And at the time, the ranking member was Adam Schiff. So they kind of switched roles there. But back when Devon Nunes was in charge, this is what he sent to Dan Coates, who is the Director of National Intelligence. Dear Director Coates, the House Intelligence Committee views the protection of classified information, which is essential to defending the national security of the United States, as a key oversight responsibility. Unauthorized disclosures, whether the result of disgruntled employees or for the advancement of partisan political ideology, are crimes that can result in the intelligence community's loss of access to critical intelligence information and can endanger the lives of sources. All leaks of classified information must be vigorously prosecuted, and the committee is working to ensure law, policy, and funding are aligned to maximize the prosecution of these crimes. As you are aware, since the 2016 U.S. presidential election, there have been numerous leaks alleging inappropriate or unlawful activity by individuals associated with President Trump. These allegations are generally sourced from, quote, current and former administration officials. Whether true or partially true or entirely untrue, these leaks have undermined our political processes and emboldened and aided our adversaries. Separate and aside from the real and present danger associated with Russian aggression, these leaks damage our national security and are an affront to the brave men and women who serve in silence within the intelligence community. Classified information is held secret for good reason, and our intelligence apparatus simply cannot function capably amid the continual exposure of classified information. To assist the committee in understanding how U.S. person information contained in intelligence reports could be leaked to the media, we are actively reviewing the policies, procedures, and practices of the intelligence community concerning the dissemination of U.S. person information. Although we are still conducting our review, we have found evidence that current and former government officials had easy access to U.S. person information, and it is possible that these officials used this information to achieve partisan political purposes, including the selective, anonymous leaking of such information. The intelligence community, its leaders, law enforcement personnel, and policymakers may have valid reasons for unmasking U.S. person identities and may do so in compliance with the law and policy. However, the committee has found that senior government officials offered remarkably few individualized justifications for access to this U.S. person information. For example, this committee has learned that one official whose position had no apparent intelligence-related function made hundreds of unmasking requests during the final year of the Obama administration. Samantha Powers, which, have we really heard much about her? Oh, no, nobody's talking about her. Of those requests, only one offered a justification that was not boilerplate and articulated why that specific official required the U.S. person information for the performance of his or her official duties. The committee also understands that Obama-era officials sought the identities of Trump transition officials within intelligence reports. However, there was no meaningful explanation offered by these officials as to why they needed or how they would use this U.S. person information, and thus the committee is left with the impression that these officials may have used this information for improper purposes, including the possibility of leaking. More pointedly, some of the requests for unminimized U.S. person information were followed by anonymous leaks of those names to the media. Although the committee has yet to complete its review, we have identified a significant issue that will require changes to federal law. Specifically, we have found that the intelligence community's U.S. person unmasking policies are inadequate to prevent abuse, such as political spying. To address this serious deficiency in the application of current policy, as well as the lack of statutory requirements, I will introduce a bill to require individual fact-based justifications for each request for U.S. person information sourced from disseminated intelligence reports. This new statutory requirement should be consistent with the current policy imposed on rank-and-file intelligence officials, which to date has shown no sign of abuse. By the way, I looked for this. I couldn't find it. I didn't see any bill that he introduced that would address this. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it's under some other name or something, but I didn't see the bill that he's referring to. The new law must, however, require conformity at the top levels of government. Cabinet members and other senior political leaders cannot be permitted to continue to seek access to U.S. person information within disseminated intelligence reports without documenting a specific fact-based requirement for the information. In addition, the committee is examining other requirements to enhance auditing and oversight in this area. To accomplish these changes to federal law without undermining the important and lawful activities of the intelligence community, I request that the Office of Director of National Intelligence provide the HPSCI staff technical assistance in the drafting of legislation. It is my goal to complete drafting during the August recess, and your commitment to working with the committee will ensure the best outcome for the American people's privacy and security. Now, this, by the way, Democrats, this is how you do things. This is how you run the Intelligence Committee. Because this committee's duty to have oversight over these things is so they can put in legislation to prevent things from being abused. And this is one of the things that Devon Nunes exposed that was happening, that you had someone who was not even part of something that had to do with intelligence ending up unmasking hundreds of people. I mean, it was crazy. Something like that has to be stopped. And that's why Congress has the oversight responsibility. So when they see things like this, they can make a law to take care of that, to see that it doesn't happen again. And this is the whole thing with the immigration. If the Democrats were truly concerned about the children at the border, they would make a law. And they would propose that law, and it would make it through the House because they have the numbers, and then it would go to the Senate. But have we seen any immigration bills going out like that? Anything specific that's going to fix the situation? I saw one tonight that was talking about how there's overcrowding and how, it's not good conditions and they have so many more than the facility can hold. And it's like, well, yeah. And the only way that's going to be solved is by stopping people from coming here. So what legislation have these people presented that will fix this? They sit there and they whine about it, but are they doing anything? No, they're not. They're not presenting any legislation that's going to tackle the main issue of what's going wrong. And this is what's been happening for years and years and years. Nobody addresses the real problem. And this is why I always thought we needed a businessman in the Oval Office. We need somebody who is not used to, well, let's think about it here, and then we'll think about it a few months later and think about it down the road. No, we need somebody who says, oh, look, there's a problem. Let's figure it out. Let's fix it. That's what you do. That's how you run any organization, except evidently our government. But anyway, so I wanted to bring that to your attention because even back then we knew this was happening. And Devon Nunes and a handful of others have actually seen these documents, a lot of these documents. Now, not everything, but they've seen a lot of them. And because of that, they're looking at things so differently, but they can't tell us what they know. They can give hints here and there, and if you listen carefully, you can sometimes hear some hints in what they're saying. So I came across this article on the Conservative Treehouse, an article by Sundance, and talks about John Ratcliffe and an interview that he did. I believe it was today that he did it, on Sunday. You're probably watching this on Monday, though. But anyway, it says Representative John Ratcliffe is one of the few, only 3 or 4, who has seen all of the known classified documents surrounding the corrupt DOJ and FBI effort. And in this interview, Mr. Ratcliffe discusses the ongoing issues within the review of the corrupt DOJ FBI activity. Now, it's very interesting if you watch the whole thing, and I will give you a link to this page. You can watch it here, or you can go to the YouTube channel and watch it there. But something very interesting about this is that he says at the very end, he makes a comment, and I want to play it for you, then I'll come back and I'll wrap up.
So these documents that go to the origin that many of us, like Trey Gowdy and Devon Nunes and myself, have been asking to be declassified, the president did give that declassification authority to Bill Barr. One theory that I have as to why we have not yet seen those is because Bill Barr instead named a second special counsel, John Durham. And if I were a special prosecutor looking into these things, those documents and what I know they establish are things that I would want to use before a grand jury to determine whether or not indictments should be issued, whether or not anyone's conduct as it related to the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation or the obstruction investigation warrant criminal charges.
So I don't know if you caught it or not, but the main thing he's saying is the reason we aren't seeing things so far is probably because it's being used in grand jury testimony. And I think that's really what's happening. I think that we're not going to see things declassified all at once. We're not going to see this huge, big bunch of stuff. We're going to see some items. I think Congress probably will see more items than we will, but they've already seen a lot of them, remember? But I think the main thing is a lot of it is tied up right now in grand jury testimony, so it can't be given out to the public. It can't be declassified because we've already established with the Mueller report that you can't give out grand jury information. You can't put it out to the public as long as it's still tied up with the grand juries. So the question is, are we going to have to wait until the indictments start? I think we will, but I think the indictments are going to be happening sometime this summer because we see that Barr is focused on this. Now, I also want to dispel the myth that Huber is doing nothing. Once again, that has come around. No, that's not true. Huber did not sit back and go, well, I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs until Horowitz gives me somebody to prosecute. No, that's not what happened, okay? He's been doing some grand juries, and that's why everything is all tied up. I mean, there's so much information that needs to come out, but he's not going to put it out because it's tied up in the grand juries. And again, that's why. I mean, look at all these people. You got Andy McCabe here. He's fired and under investigation. James Comey fired and under investigation. Sally Yates was fired. And Peter Strzok fired and under investigation. Bruce Orr demoted and under investigation. James Baker demoted, resigned. James Rybicki resigned. Lisa Page resigned. Mike Cortan fired, resigned. And Mary McCord resigned. I mean, these are the people right here that were part of the whole Hillary Clinton thing. They're like the main people that were part of this mid-year exam. So look at these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 right there that are under investigation that we know of. So that's going to be some grand jury information there, and probably the evidence is what they were responsible for putting out. Those are the things obviously we want to see, but it's things you can't put out because it's part of the grand jury. So I think that's what's going on. And I do think, there's this article here, and they have a whole list of all the things that they think should come out. And it's quite a long list. But if it's like Bruce Orr's 302s, well, Bruce Orr's under investigation. So why would those come out? They can't. If it's part of grand jury evidence, it's not going to come out. All of Bruce Orr's emails, again, not going to come out. They were the ones responsible for the FISA application. How can it come out if it's part of the grand jury investigation? I mean, when you look over this list, it's like those people right there. If it's only those four, then all of this stuff is going to be tied up, or almost all of it. There's so much. And so I really am thinking that we can't see it at this point, and we won't be able to see these things until the indictments are unsealed. And we've hit over 100,000 now, so I don't know when it's going to take place, but I will also tell you that Huber has been working. His focus was on Hillary Clinton, though, so keep that in mind. And Barr confirmed that in that interview he did on CBS. Now, I'm not going to play any CBS clips because I don't want any copyright strikes, and I don't trust them. Fox News is usually pretty good, so I don't mind that. But yeah, the whole copyright thing has been getting really hard on YouTube, so I'm trying to steer clear of that and just focus on the things that I can. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and like I said, you're going to see some articles and some things that say that Huber did nothing and that Durham is the real investigator. No, that's not really how it goes. And Durham is actually investigating things, yes, but really it was Huber that was doing something else. And as I said before, I think there's a lot of U.S. attorneys that are involved in this that are working in different areas and are focusing on the different crimes that have been committed, because there are so many. Okay, so there's a lot they have to investigate. And I realize it's taken time and it's frustrating because we just want it to come out. And it's even harder when you know what things are being hidden and you really want them to come out, but it all has to follow the law. It has to be done legally. It has to be done through our legislative and our judiciary process. We really do have a government that, when it's working right, it can take care of these things. But we also have some people that are really trying to block it right now. So who are they? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's not Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions is not part of a coup against Donald Trump. Not in any way, shape, or form. I saw an article about that, and I think it was from Gateway Pundit. It's like, really? Oh, I wouldn't believe that in a million years. Anyway, Sessions, too clean of a guy. He's squeaky clean. And there is no way in this world he would ever be part of anything. So no, he was not part of a coup. And the idea that Huber's not been doing anything, balderdash. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.